Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about a sci-fi adventure film called Deus from 2022. Enjoy your viewing. In the near future, the Earth is gradually dying because of all the damage caused by humanity, and people are desperately looking for a way to escape. One day, a giant black sphere appears near Mars, and 6 astronauts are sent on the Achilles ship to investigate it. For 8 months, the team is in a state of hibernation. Carla keeps having dreams about her daughter and mother, who tragically died 2 years ago in a car accident. With only 8 hours to go before the sphere, the crew wakes up. While everyone is regaining consciousness, Carla notices that Ruben is very nervous about his first hibernation experience. She advises him to get some rest, but Ruben prefers to blog for his large audience. Later, Carla meets with Commander Paul, and they try to learn more about the sphere through scans, but the ship's artificial intelligence doesn't detect anything. Carla thinks they should return, but Paul insists on completing the mission. The lack of data makes Ruben even more nervous. The crew decides to contact Vance, the head of the expedition program, who reminds them that people on Earth are eagerly awaiting an answer to this mystery. They cannot disappoint them, so the mission must be completed. After a while, Carla begins to hear her mother's voice in the corridors, but sees no one. Meanwhile, Ruby wakes up to an eerie whisper in her room. When Carla returns to her room, Vance calls her and expresses concern about her appearance. Carla assures him that everything is fine, but the connection is cut off, and the AI announces that the sphere is causing an anomaly. Carla runs to the main compartment and sees the sphere emitting a bright beam of light towards the ship, causing systemic failures. The other crew members also gather, and Tez notes that the light seems to be showing the ship a path. The closer they get, the more the artificial intelligence picks up noise coming from the sphere. Carla analyzes it and deciphers a message that keeps repeating the word Deus, which means God in Latin. Ruben panics and calls for them to return, but Paul decides to continue the mission. Later, Carla and Ruben hear the voices again. Ulf takes Carla to her room, where she confesses that she has been suffering from headaches since the accident, but does not mention the voices. Their conversation is interrupted by Tez, who reports that Ruben has disappeared. The crew splits up to search for him. Tez searches the cargo hold and finds Ruben hiding behind containers, surrounded by light. He performs a ritual to try to satisfy the voices in his head. His skin is covered with carved religious symbols. Tez screams in terror, and Carla and Ulf run to help. Unfortunately, when Carla gets there, it's too late. Tez is already dead. Ruben spots Carla and takes her hostage, threatening to kill her if Ulf comes near. In desperation, Ruben declares that the sphere is God's judgment, and if they land, they will be part of the carnage. Suddenly, Paul appears from behind and does not hesitate to shoot Ruben, killing him on the spot. He orders Ulf to prepare 2 body bags without showing any emotion. Carla takes Ruben's knife and follows Paul to the elevator, where she asks if he is hiding something. Paul denies it and gets angry, feeling that Carla wants to abandon the mission. When they get to her room, Carla accuses Paul of being indifferent to the deaths of the crew members, but he simply walks away. Ulf decides to put the bodies in their hibernation chambers instead of bags. There are only 3 hours left before the sphere. The crew separates the main module of the Achilles and moves to a smaller ship for easier maneuvering. Carla notices some kind of structure on the sphere's surface, but can't figure out what it is. When the ship finally lands, communication is restored, and the crew receives a call from Vance. He informs the crew that 10,000 unknown structures similar to the one Carla saw have appeared on Earth, but they are not attacking. Vance is convinced that the sphere is behind this and urges the crew to solve this mystery as soon as possible. Paul orders Ulf and Carla to go on a research mission, but Sean emphasizes that they need a scientist and volunteers to go with them. They put on their spacesuits and leave the ship while Paul watches them through the cameras. The sphere is completely dark, so they can't see distant objects, and Carla's scanner doesn't detect anything. Touching the surface, Carla says that it is an element not known on Earth. Paul orders them to check out the structure, and as they get closer, they realize it's a gate. Suddenly, a bright light begins to glow inside the gate, and Ulf launches a flare to get a better look at the structure. They see a symbol that marks the limit beyond which events cannot affect the observer. Carla calls it the end of existence and scans the gate, confirming that it is made of the same material as the sphere. At this point, the crew hears a strange noise that shouldn't be possible in a vacuum. Paul reports that the ship's artificial intelligence has detected something and is broadcasting it through their communicators. They all hear the word welcome. The light gets even brighter, and a woman appears in the middle of the gate. The woman transmits messages telepathically, and the artificial intelligence translates them for the crew. She claims to speak on behalf of the creator of all things. The woman has come to warn them and help them, giving humanity a choice. Those who enter the gate will find eternal peace, and Carla has been chosen to show everyone the way. Inside the gate will be the end of all suffering and pain. but those who choose not to enter will die when the sphere reaches the Earth and destroys it. Suddenly, the woman transforms into Carla's mother and tells her that someone is waiting for her inside the gate. Shocked, Carla enters the light and sees flashbacks of a car accident, before finding herself outside a golden city with a wound on her head, just like the accident. Her daughter is there, and Carla runs to her, but before they can embrace, Carla wakes up on a table in the ship. Carla does not understand how she ended up here. Ulf explains that she could barely stand when she came out of the gate, so he brought her back to the ship. Unfortunately, Sean did not survive. Their conversation is interrupted by a call from Vance, who wants to know all the details. Carla talks about the Golden City and compares it to Jerusalem, to which Ulf calls it paradise. She doesn't mention her family, even when Vance asks persistent questions, not believing that she hasn't seen anything else. After the call ends, an irritated Paul leaves the room, and Carla asks about Sean's death. Ulf explains that his suit was damaged, but Carla doesn't believe him because their suits are made of material that doesn't tear. Ulf then says that Sean did not fasten his glove properly and lost pressure, but Carla disagrees because Sean was a very experienced researcher. Suspicious, Ulf reminds her that everyone can make mistakes and advises her to rest. Carla wants to explore the sphere again, but Ulf informs her that the ship is already leaving its orbit. When they find themselves in a corridor without cameras, Ulf asks Carla what she really saw inside the gate. She tells him about her family and adds that she doesn't trust Vance and Paul because they are hiding something. A few minutes later, Ulf returns to the bridge, and Paul asks what happened when he and Carla were off camera. Ulf replies that Carla didn't say anything new. Paul becomes suspicious and reminds Ulf to obey orders. As the ship leaves the orbit of the sphere, the AI announces that the crew should be ready for hibernation in an hour. Carla takes Ruben's knife and heads to the pods to examine Sean's body, including his spacesuit. She then picks the lock to Paul's room and starts looking for evidence. Paul sees this through the security cameras and sends Ulf to stop her. In Paul's room, Carla finds a gun and some interesting files. Soon Ulf shows up, but Carla stops him by pointing the gun. After reading the files, she now knows that Ulf was a former soldier in the elite corps and had a reputation for excellence. Ulf explains that this is in the past and swears that he knows nothing about the sphere. Carla forces Ulf back to the main bridge, where she points a gun at Paul. He claims that this is mutiny, which is punishable by death. Carla replies that Sean was shot and believes that Ulf did it because he used to be a mercenary. The tense moment is interrupted by a call from Vance, who assures her that he is not her enemy and claims that all his scientists believe that Carla has indeed seen heaven. He also shows a video of people on Earth gathering in the streets, desperate to leave the planet after the sphere recordings were broadcast. Carla is shocked, and Paul uses the moment to attack her. After a struggle, Carla manages to push Paul away and shoot him in the chest, killing him. She then notices that she was injured during the fight and her stomach is bleeding. After Vance ends the call, Carla points the gun at Ulf, who confesses that he killed Sean. However, he claims that he does not want to kill her, as he also wants to know the truth about the sphere and what she really saw. Deciding to trust him, Carla allows Ulf to take her to the medical ward and bandage her wound. When she is feeling better, Carla admits that she wants to return to the sphere, but Vance is controlling the artificial intelligence. Ulf says he knows a code that allows him to bypass the control, but it requires resetting the main engine, because the Achilles is too big to be operated manually. The loss of the main engine means that their journey back to Earth will take more than 5 years. Carla is losing hope, but Ulf suggests an alternative plan. Carla then returns to the bridge and calls Vance to say that she will destroy the sphere if necessary, as she believes it is a hoax. In response, Vance activates secret files that show that the element Carla found on the planet was created by him. He admits that he built the sphere himself. God does not exist. Vance did all this to save 6 billion people by destroying the remaining 15 billion, because the Earth is overpopulated. He also tells us that the gate does not lead to heaven. It was a lie to cause panic and make people run to the gate that actually leads to their death. Carla doesn't understand how this could make her hear her family. Then Vance confesses that he put a chip in her head after the accident, which was also his fault. Everything that happened was part of his plan to prepare Carla for this mission. A tearful Carla calls Vance a monster and shares a story her mother told her about how everyone deserves a chance to survive. At this point, Ulf contacts her and informs her that he has gained access to the Achilles core. Vance realizes that they are planning to destroy the sphere and orders the ship's self-destruct procedure to be activated. Sirens begin to wail, and the artificial intelligence announces that the Achilles will explode in 3 minutes. Enraged, Carla shoots the holographic device, ending Vance's call. She contacts Ulf, who gives her the code to separate the main ship from the large cargo structure. However, Ulf gets stuck in the elevator, which doesn't move fast enough for him to get back to the main ship. He tells Carla to escape without him, but she refuses. At this point, the self-destruct is activated, and the Achilles begins to explode in several places at once. Carla is forced to separate the ship and watches in horror as the explosions destroy the main structure. She thinks her friend is dead. However, Ulf suddenly gets in touch, saying that he managed to escape at the last second. Later, they celebrate their survival over a drink, and Ulf explains that because half of the spacecraft has been lost, the core will have to be detonated manually. Carla agrees and says that they will do it together. However, when the ship lands on the sphere, Ulf closes the door behind him and orders Carla to return to Earth so that she can tell everyone the truth. Carla leaves in the spaceship, saying one last goodbye to Ulf, who waits until the ship is at a safe distance and blows up the core, finally destroying the sphere. Now Carla is flying to Earth alone, and the artificial intelligence informs her that the journey will take 7 years. If you have watched the video so far, you should know that I am happy to have viewers like you. Thank you for watching to the end. Subscribe to the channel and follow the news. Klonsak Recapped was with you. See you soon.